All right, guys, so there's an election today, right? There is an election today if you live up north. And no, I'm not talking about living up north in the Democratic Northeast of the United States. I'm actually talking about living north of the border. If you live in Canada, there's an election today as their Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, his job and political career is on the line with this early election that he called because he thought that the Liberal Party of Canada could take a majority in their parliament system. Okay. And look, I'm not going to pretend like I know a lot about how Canada's government works. I don't, right? I'm just reading about this stuff like everybody else. But what this video really is about is a racist photo that has surfaced of Justin Trudeau right before the election, which really tells you that no matter what part of the world that you're from, elections are always ugly, right? There's always a lot of mud slinging, right? That comes from these elections. And in this photo, it looks like Justin Trudeau had some mud slinged in his face. Okay, that's what it looks like. And we're going to talk about that. But first, I want to give you guys kind of an overview of what's going on in Canada and the expected outcomes and go from there. So let's read here from 538. It's always an election year if you know where to look. This time it's up north. Canada heads to the polls today to decide whether to elect Prime Minister Justin Trudeau to another term. Think of this election like a U.S. presidential and congressional election all rolled into one. Under Canada's parliamentary system, each of Canada's 338 electoral districts, called ridings, will elect a member of parliament using normal first past the post plurality rules. Unlike some other parliamentary democracies, Canada does not use proportional representation. And the leader of the party that wins control of the parliament will become the new prime minister. Right now, the election looks like it's a close race between Trudeau's center-left Liberal Party and the center-right Conservative Party, but Canada's many smaller parties could play decisive roles too. Here are 5 questions we'll be looking to get answered as the results roll in starting tonight. So I'm not really going to read the rest of this article, but I will say, one of the things that is interesting about European politics and Canadian politics is that, when I looked at the candidates, I'm like, okay, let me look at the Conservative Party, right? The center-right party. And I'm reading this guy's platform and I'm like, wow, this man is talking about climate change. He's talking about not rolling back Justin Trudeau's gun restrictions. He's talking about trying to balance the budget without actually making any cuts. I'm like, this man sounds like a Democrat, right? He sounds like a Democrat, okay? So I just find it interesting how the Liberal Party and the Conservative Party in Canada, they both sound like what the Democrats and the far leftists would be in this country, right? That's what it sounds like. So in my opinion, there's really a choice between 2 liberal parties in Canada if you analyze it from the U.S. Overton window, that is, okay? So it's just funny because, again, a lot of these other countries, they tend to be a lot more left on the Overton window than the United States, right? So you get the Conservative Party in some of these countries sounding just like the modern day Democrat Party, right? So that's kind of what's going on in Canada. And the only conservative party in Canada seems to be the People's Party, right? And that guy apparently has no chance of winning. So, who knows, man? Maybe there won't be much of a difference in regards to who gets elected in Canada after all, because both of them seem to be pretty liberal to me. But I don't know, man. I could be ignorant on this stuff. Maybe another right-wing commentator, Lauren Chen, would know more about this than me, considering that she is Canadian. But what this video really is about is Justin Trudeau in a new blackface photo from an Arabian Nights party that emerged literally last night before the election. So this photo right here is him, the so-called liberal that cares about diversity and inclusion, right, has this photo surface of him wearing blackface, right, at an Arabian Nights party. I wonder how many Arabs were actually there, okay? So, yeah, as you can see here, this guy is just going all out on the blackface, right? And this picture right here, I guess there were Arabs there, I guess. All right, we see. And this picture right here had surfaced earlier. So this picture had already been out. People already had known that this guy, you know, does blackface. But then there was actually a call-up photo that came out that shows him full on going at it, right? I guess he's like, what, a black sultan or something like that? I don't know. But it kind of reminds me of how here in the United States, there's a lot of liberals and people that's a part of the Democrat Party, right? You remember the anti-racist folks, right? The people that's supposed to be for diversity and inclusion and against racism that love blackface, right? They seem to be obsessed with blackface. As you know, you had Virginia Attorney General Mark Herring that got caught doing blackface, and then you had Virginia Governor Ralph Northam that got caught doing blackface, and of course we have our favorite The View host Joy Behar, who also was doing blackface back in the day. Sarah Silverman has worn blackface. Jimmy Fallon has worn blackface. And it's almost like these liberals are obsessed with trying to, I don't know, pretend to be black people, right? And I feel like Justin Trudeau falls in that same category. He falls in the same category because he is Mr. I'm for diversity, right? I'm out here trying to fight against racism. Dude has worn blackface so much that he doesn't even know how many times he's actually done it. Now, he has admitted that that was racist in the past. So, I mean, you know, it is what it is. But again, I just find it interesting how every time you look, there's a liberal that has some type of blackface photo surface on the internet. I just find it pretty interesting. And his photo is actually hilarious to me, in my opinion, okay? Because he went all out with his blackface. But at the end of the day, I mean, look, I really don't even care about the whole blackface thing, right? Like, it's one of those things that, as a black person, I see why people are offended by it, considering the history of it, but I really don't care, right? If you want to dress up as a black person, or if you want to dress up as a white person, if you want to do any of that, I personally don't care. I feel like that's a part of your freedom, right? If that's what you want to do, okay? Now, that doesn't mean that people can't criticize you for it, but me personally, I don't really take all that much offense to it. It is what it is, right? They can do whatever they want to do, okay? But again, I just find it interesting, again, how the people on the left, you know, they claim to be so, again, against racism and so sensitive, right, about race issues and claim to not be racist. They're always the ones getting caught doing the most racist stuff, right, or things that we consider to be racist. Because, again, personally, I really don't care about the whole blackface thing. It is what it is. But it's just, again, interesting how this always comes up when talking about liberals. It always seems to surface when talking about them. Again, just find it interesting. But we will see what happens in Canada's elections. Honestly, like I said, it seems like the prediction is that Trudeau is going to win, but his party might not necessarily get, I guess, a majority needed to control the parliament. So we'll see what happens. Could be one of those California situations where, you know, maybe Canada, maybe the people like him, right? Maybe they like their leadership, even though, you know, he's been pro-lockdown and he's an authoritarian and all that other stuff. Maybe they like their free government cheese, right? Maybe they're addicted to the government cheese. But we will see tonight. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a black conservative perspective. Peace.